Hello, welcome back to the Mr. Arsenal podcast on match day 9. Probably 10's review against Leicester City away 1-2-0. As you can see, you've got Andrew and Melvin already going one in the background. And obviously Steve's joining us as well, okay, as Andrew refers to him as Green Grass. How are we doing, guys?
All right, mate. How are you? How's everyone?
Yeah, we're all fine at the moment.
I was doing all right on that comment, but yeah, that's fine.
You should be honoured having a nickname like that. Means we all love you, mate.
It's all Andrew's idea.
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine.
Oh dear.
I'm all folk.
Well, yeah, as I said, obviously this match review, for Saturday's game, early kickoff. We actually won a game for the first game since the first game of last season. We kicked off a game early and actually won it.
Mm.
So hey,
progress. Woo!
Good. It's all good.
Don't tell the media. They want to talk about that down the road all day. So can't tell the media that though.
No, absolutely.
Oh dear, but yeah. So I'll start with you, Steve. What was your thoughts on the game and what did you take away from it?
I thought it was a good result. I think Leicester have picked up, haven't they? So an away victory at Leicester, that's a good result from where I'm sitting. Obviously we dominated. Again we had that fast start, didn't we? We scored a couple of goals, then we had to defend. Ramsdale. Geez, that guy's unbelievable, and his passing and some of the saves he pulls off. That save from the free kick was, you just don't see that sort of thing. I think it was just an all-round good performance. We had to defend, as you probably would expect, going to Leicester. Vardy hardly had a kick. He always scores against us, doesn't he? But he hardly got a kick, really. So a good 3 points.
Yeah,
Definitely.
What about yourself, Melvin, as well? Your thoughts?
Well, it's nice to have a settled back four, isn't it? It makes a big difference. Gives the rest of the team so much more confidence. The goalkeeper inspires the whole team. It's always going to be tough going to Leicester, as you say. We nearly made it hard for ourselves. We invited them on, but we were just too good for them. Our defence at the moment, I'm not saying they're 100%, but they're a lot better than they've been for the last 8-9 years. And you build from the back, and that's what we've been doing. If you know that you're not going to let in 2 or 3 goals every game, then you've got every opportunity of winning the game. And it gives the whole team a lift and confidence. And it's nice to see Vardy was playing, and you did actually forget he was playing. That's how good the defence played. He didn't get a kick, and he did a nasty foul on someone. I can't remember, was it White? Was it? He left his foot in, and
it was White.
That
I think it was
frustration. He did it with Mustafi a year or 2 before at the Emirates. He does that. He's got that in.
And White had a good battle with him throughout the game, actually. And those 2 free kicks White gave away, they were quite harsh free kicks, in my opinion. The second one being where Ramsdale made that save, Melvin. I think White really acquitted himself excellently against Vardy.
I think the second goal one he gave away with the free kick, I thought we made it easy for the referee to give that decision. I didn't think it was particularly...
It's quite soft.
Foul. It was soft, but the way he moved his arm, to me, I can understand why the ref gave it.
Yeah, absolutely. But it was a really good battle throughout the game between the two of them, I thought. And Vardy normally gets his way, but he started getting really quite angry and irritated, didn't he? It's more and more as the game went on.
I think what we've seen with White is that he's not the powder puff that we first thought when we saw him against Brentford.
No, not at all.
I think we got the wrong impression because he wasn't playing next to Gabriel, who gives him a lot of strength, let's face it, in cover, which is brilliant. Gabriel, we'll talk about him later probably. But he's all.
I think you've got to sort of those first 3 games. You really got to wipe from your memory, haven't you?
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Even Andrew was saying yesterday, the women's game, I was saying the improvement. Potentially we could, if obviously we don't mess about on Sunday, we come away with 3 points on Sunday. We could walk away at 8 games, 20 points out of 24. If you said that to me after 3 games, I'd have even took you to the Looney Tunes bin.
Absolutely. Well, my thoughts basically it's a perfect away performance. Whilst we were dominating, we capitalised. We took the lead, scored a couple of good goals, and then it was, people have, complained that, we didn't dominate the whole game because it didn't carry on in that way. However, everyone seems to forget that we were playing against an excellent team in good form coming into that game in Leicester. And they had all their sort of big guns out up front, made changes at half time because they couldn't cope with us. So, fair play to Brendan Rodgers. He saw the problems, solved those problems. They put us under a lot of pressure. They had a few chances because they are, once again, I'll say, a very good side with very good players. So you're not going to keep those players out for a whole 90 minutes. It's impossible. So we coped with them really well, and I think it was almost like a George Graham defensive performance in that second half. We managed them really well. Yes, we couldn't stop them having a few shots, but Ramsdale had been brought in to deal with those types of moments, and boy, did he deal with those types of moments. I mean, it was literally a 10 out of 10 performance from Aaron Ramsdale. 10 out of 10.
With Aaron Ramsdale, certain games.
I mean, some of that distribution he had was unbelievable. Picking out midfield players. I mean, the pace. He wasn't just as a soft pass. He was giving that ball some whaley, wasn't he? And hitting the man and basically breaking the whole midfield, taking the midfield out.
Well, he hits it with pace to stop this.
I mean, the whole back five
perfectly. Go on,
yeah. He's accurate, isn't he?
With his goalkeeping, certain games with certain goalkeepers, they have these games where they look bigger than the goal, and he looked bigger than the goal on Saturday. With just no space anywhere. You couldn't have beaten him wherever you tried, and that was the type of game he had. Psychologically, they must have given up after the time. Leicester game, well, what's the point? Not going to get anywhere.
Exactly. Yeah, he plays his passes out with real purpose and zings them to the players. So, I mean, defenders and midfielders ain't got time to get to that ball to intercept it because he hits it with real purpose straight through. And they're not always like high balls, obviously, where you've got a chance of losing it with an aerial duel. He sort of whizzes it like a daisy cutter across the floor with pace and purpose. Unreal performance, literally a 10 out of 10 performance from him. But overall, like I said, really happy that we kept the same 11. We've literally got a first 11 now. I mean, obviously, you can include Kieran Tierney in that because I'm sure when he comes back, he is the number one left back. But apart from that, we're playing with a settled side, which we've been crying out for. How many weeks have we been crying out for this? Like a settled first 11. And we're getting it. They're all gelling. We've got partnerships building up all over the pitch. The left back and the left winger, the right back, right winger, two central defenders, obviously the goalkeeper included as well, the two midfielders, everything's building up beautifully. Now, we're obviously not going to keep up winning every single game from now on to the rest of the season. I mean, it'd be unreal if we did, but it ain't going to happen because we've got a young team, so we're going to get some highs and lows. But you can see this team building into something really special. And if you just said in any season that we're going to get a 2-0 win away against Leicester, who, like I said before, they're in form, you'd be absolutely delighted with that. And the fact that we didn't dominate for 90 minutes, it's got to be expected because we're playing against really good teams here. And Leicester are a really good team. They should have been in the Champions League the last couple of years, but they just fell out. But they still finished 5th twice in a row, whilst we finished 8th. So they've been a consistently better team than us over the last few seasons, without doubt. Won the FA Cup last year. So, of course, they're going to dominate periods of the game. They were at home as well, let's not forget. They were at home. They're going to dominate periods of the game because they're that kind of team. They've got very, very, very good players, and we coped with it. And, we managed to see out that game under quite intense pressure in the second half after they sorted themselves out. And like I said, it was a perfect away performance for me because in that period that we dominated, we capitalised. And we scored a couple of very good goals, deserved goals. and we kept them out for the rest of the game. So I couldn't not be happier with that performance. It's one of my, my favourites of this season, to be perfectly honest, because I was very worried going into it, and because they're a good side. But the way that we come out of that with a clean sheet again it's got to be a very, very positive thing for me.
I think that before
we even pushed on in the second half, didn't we?
Sorry, Steve, you want to continue? Go on, after you.
No, I was just going to say, even in the second half, after we weathered like the storm, if you like, we still pushed on again, didn't we? There wasn't as if that was it. We were done. We were still, potentially threatening later on in the second half. And on another day, we could have nicked another one quite easily. So I mean, that's just a sign of a good team. You can sit back and weather the storm, because the storm is always going to come when you're playing away from home against a good side. You can't dominate for 90 minutes. We dominated in the key moments, and we never looked stretched. They had chances, but we, back in the day when we'd be attacking, we'd be having a corner, and suddenly you've got Jamie Vardy bearing down on you because we've got nobody back. That doesn't happen anymore. They play as a unit.
Absolutely.
And I didn't feel under. They had chances, obviously, but we're on a roll, aren't we? Let's be honest, we're on a roll.
Definitely.
I think just to say where we are at the moment, before the last couple of years, nobody, including perhaps the manager, knew our best 11. I think we've got a much better clue now to our best 11. And also, before the season, before the ball was kicked this season, I would have, and I think you would have, all three of you would have done the same as well, and the people in the chat would have taken 7, 8, 9 Leicester players. Now, that's not the case, is it?
Absolutely not. No. I mean, there's a lot of these players.
It's the other way around. It's the other way around, isn't it?
Yeah, it is, Steve. I've said this before, Melvin, but when you weren't on the show, I mean, isn't it lovely to have a team full of players that you can really warm to and really like? They're all such a great, likeable bunch as well, aren't they? And they're fighting for the badge. You can see that the way that they sort of finished the game and their celebrations on the pitch when they went over to the fans and they were all celebrating together. It's just a wonderful camaraderie they've got between themselves, and they've really endeared themselves to the fans, haven't they, in the ground?
Well, I think the defenders have as well, haven't they? Every time they stop a goal or a bit of good defending, they're all high-fiving, backslapping. They're just playing as a unit, aren't they? That back five. Obviously Tierney and Tavares coming in. I mean, £6 million. I mean, that's another steal, isn't it? How many steals have we got in our side now?
It seems like. I mean, and that's another thing that's been dealt with. That when we have an injury, we've got players like obviously with Granit Xhaka, you got Sambi coming in. He's got more game time to develop and setting in. So come January, he's going to be ready for when obviously he's going to play even more in that month and a half period. And you've got, obviously, as you said, Tierney's that injured. That was our big thing. If he got injured, we were buggered. We had our options were basically Kolasinac, and that didn't turn out well, really. So we've we've spent, as you say, was it $6 million on Nuno? And he's, as you say, performances wise, what he's been performing, he's asked, he's basically most of the season. Fucking an absolute bargain.
And he's the only Nuno left in London now. Don't forget that as well.
That as well. Yeah, he's survived more than 10 games.
I mean, Samba.
You've waited all day to say that, haven't you?
I have. Yeah, I've been busted to say that.
Samba, I know he's taken the place of Xhaka and he's done it very well. But I think that he could actually, to some degree, not 100%, take the place of Partey. That role, he could definitely play his role. He's got that in him, that boy. Definitely. So I'm not worried Partey's got to go away for the African Nations Cup. And if Xhaka gets fit for him, or we find someone else to play there, Sam could definitely take his spot.
Yeah, and do you know what the worrying thing is, though, as well? We're actually going to be losing players for the African Cup of Nations on Boxing Day.
Yeah, after Boxing Day, yeah. But the Boxing Day fixture, and that's it.
That's...
He's like, oh, no.
They're calling them out for the Cup earlier than normal, a couple of weeks earlier than normal, I think. So that's going to be something we're going to have to really sort out in January, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, obviously, assuming that goes ahead as it stands, it's in the air if that's going ahead or not at the moment. So hopefully it doesn't, because obviously we don't want to lose our players. especially if we're in the semi-final for cup as well. Bloody hell! God.
I know.
Otherwise, we're busy couple of weeks in the transfer window straight away from.
Well, I mean, you're just going to need. Yeah, well, that's it, isn't it? They're going to be looking at players they could bring in at short notice, aren't they? In January, I'd have thought. A couple of loan deals wouldn't be out, beyond the realms of possibility, would it? Really? Just so we got some extra cover.
Yeah, exactly. That's what we. That's what we sort of need, and just in certain areas, and obviously going to be key. Midfield is going to be a massive loss because with Partey going to AFCON, we're going to lose Aubameyang, we're going to lose Pepe, and who else are we losing? We're losing someone else.
Aubameyang, Pepe, El Neni, Partey.
El Neni, that's it. And can I say now, basically, it's going to put a lot of pressure on Granit. If we don't go out and get someone, or bring Miguel Aziz back on from Pompey, or we have someone really made in the next couple of months to partner alongside Maitland-Niles or Sambi, that's putting a lot of pressure on Granit to come straight back in after an injury that he's had and not cause any issues really. I mean, to just slot back in, no problem.
Has anybody known
He's not even playing. He was an unused substitute again the last game.
What's the point?
He's not hardly played a game. It's a waste, absolute waste. So, can I just say hello to Zane in the chat because he's a nice Leicester fan in the chat. Thank you.
Yeah, I saw that.
I actually, I hope you've been listening the whole game because we've been very complimentary about your team as well, mate. We haven't been gloating or anything like that. We recognise that it was a really, really good result for us. We had to play really well. So fair play to you and thanks for coming into the chat.
Yeah. We're going to put that comment up in a second. Obviously, we've got this comment on the screen here saying from Stu, what is all this hype about Ramsdale? £30 million when he's no better than Martinez. I'd argue at the moment, based on form of this season, based on the form and what we're seeing from both goalkeepers, Ramsdale's actually performing better. In my opinion,
definitely.
Martinez has dropped off massively this season.
Yeah, 100%.
He goes on to say he does give some praise to defenders though. Tomiyasu, Gabriel, Tini, and Tavares, all selfless bargain buys though. Shades of Lauren, Torre, Campbell, and Cole costings. Obviously, Cole's obviously from our academy.
Yes, this is really true. Good message that is.
Yeah. Another fun fact, number 2 from Steve as well, saying
I think Ramsdale wins it on the
target 2 hours and 16 minutes of football.
Fantastic. Another fun fact.
I think Ramsdale wins. Yeah, I think Ramsdale wins it on distribution. I think Ramsdale wins it on distribution over Martinez for me. I think both great goalkeepers on their day, but I think Ramsdale just slightly shades it on the distribution side and the controlling of the box. I think he just shades it in that for me. And at that age as well. I mean, Jesus. I think he gets it for me. 22. I mean, he's got 12 years in front of him, maybe more, potentially.
Yeah, definitely. 23. But, yeah, absolutely. He's nowhere near his prime. So, got probably about 5 years away from his prime.
29 for a goalkeeper? 29 for a goalkeeper? 37.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
And that's all in the back of the goals.
I reckon they're 63 before they actually come their own goalkeepers. It's over 28. It's over 28 years old.
Another fun fact from Orbinho, I don't know if you saw it, but Tottenham have had more managers in 2021, 3, than they have league championships in their history, 2. So, that's quite funny.
Oh dear. We'll be the 4th soon or 5th where they're going.
Yeah,
obviously got Richard in the chat. He's saying my worry is that we still don't have a plan B and relying heavily on the excellence of.
Oh, Richard, honestly, you're going to worry yourself into an early grave, mate. Just enjoy it.
Just enjoy the moment, Richard. Just enjoy the moment.
Yeah.
Just don't worry about working. You don't need a plan B, do you? You don't need a plan B. Plan A works fine.
We have got plan B. We've got different ways of playing anyway. How many times we've played with a back 3, we've played with back 4s, we've played with loads of different formations for different games. But yeah, honestly, you're going to give yourself an heart attack, mate. So Just enjoy it while it's good.
In his defence, I played devil's advocate. I think it probably means during the game. He's probably right. Sometimes during the game, we don't change anything. We might change the formation, 3 at the back, 4 at the back from one game to another. But during a game, if things don't go quite well, then all of a sudden we're going, we've got to do something. Come on.
I agree. No, I agree with that. But let's just park that for a minute. Let's just enjoy the fun times.
Yeah, exactly. Because before you know it, as I said, after the international break, we've got Liverpool, Newcastle, then Man United, then Everton, then Leeds, then Southampton, then West Ham, and then we've got Norwich on Boxing Day.
Yeah, no, we've got so many more podcasts to come when we can start worrying about things like that. Because it's undoubtable.
One game at a time.
Yeah,
Managers
exactly.
go one game at a time, so should we. One game at a time.
Definitely, yeah.
Again, look,
Spurs go one manager at a time, don't they?
Yeah.
Day by day,
Sorry?
always. Tottenham go. Tottenham. He said, Melvin said about Tottenham going one manager a day.
One manager at a time.
It'd be literally Conte will be hired tomorrow morning and hired by the evening. I mean, sacked by the evening. Sorry.
Is that some sort of record where you get manager of the month and get sacked the next month? Is that some sort of record?
Gotta be.
No, they just went into the third month. They just went into the third month. Yeah.
Oh, did it? Oh, sorry. But
but one day.
Though, but yeah,
one day. So you've got to give
By
them
one
that.
day, literally by 10 hours out.
There could be a chance though. If things go really wrong for Spurs, he could be. They're still their manager of the year.
Their manager of the decade.
just for accepting the job and going hi. No, also is though.
Shame.
And look, again, positives we've got to take away from this is that we are now in the European, as it stands, in the European spots in the league. I know it's obviously 10 games in, but we've got 28 games to go. We're in a good position, and as I said, after 3 games, 8 games will possibly, if we win on, I keep saying, if we win on Sunday against Watford, that'd be 20 points out of 24. Only dropping 4 points in 8 games. That's good form. And people, again, not just Arsenal fans, but other fans and the media aren't giving us the credit that we deserve here.
No, and if we
keep digging,
if we'd have managed to play the way that we have been playing the last couple of games, if we'd have managed to beat Palace and Brighton, which we obviously went ahead in both those games early doors, and if we'd have played to our proper capabilities in those games and actually not lost those 4 points, we'd be third at the moment.
What's that expression, Andrew, about if my own?
I know, but I'm saying we are on the right trajectory here because we could have
been
lucky
against Palace, going 1-0 up or not.
We were lucky against Palace. We played really poorly.
The first goal. We were
there were games we could have won. There's games we should have won and could have won, and it's all shoulda, coulda, wouldas. I know that. I know it is. But, it's quite frustrating, isn't it? But we were bottom of the table about 5 weeks ago, and now we're sitting 5th. So that's something to be really happy about.
Exactly.
I think you're not going to. There's going to be bumps in the road, isn't there, as you go along with this young team? They've played now 6 games together as a unit, so you can have bumps in the road, aren't you? You're never going to play 100% every single game. But if you take Leicester as another marker as where we are, that's pretty good from where we were 6 games ago in the league.
Yeah, exactly.
We're in a semi-final of the cup. And it's quarter-final of the cup. I mean, it's just all positive, isn't it?
And we didn't play. We've just recognised the fact, and we all know that we played crap in those couple of games that we talked about, but we didn't lose them, and it's a sign of still going in a good direction when you play really poorly, but you manage to not lose the game. And we know that. Look at this on the screen there. Palace beat City 2-0 away. So we didn't lose those games, whereas in the past we possibly could have done. We possibly would have done, but our characters brought us through. And it's always a sign of a good team not to lose a game when you're playing crap. So that's something to take out of it anyway.
On the other side of the fence, let's be fair. You're talking about European football was it 8 games or 10? How many games we played?
Well,
10
10 down to 8 to go.
Listen, we ain't there, nowhere near there.
Oh, no,
yet.
that's what I'm saying. Don't get carried away, but obviously enjoy the moment of what it is.
You see teams, excuse me, come up from the Championship, they have a great start. They're second by this time sometimes. They just hope they click. The other teams can't fathom them out, and they get this. And if you said about these teams, oh, look, they're second, they could get in Europe this year, you'd be laughed at, and you'd laugh yourself. And that's where we are. Wait till there's 25 games, 30 games to see if we're good enough to get into Europe.
100%, yeah. Exactly. No, totally agree. But the positive is, though, Milv, is that, like I said, 5 weeks ago, we were 20th. So let's just be happy.
That wasn't real, was it? That wasn't real. We knew that wasn't going to continue.
It was, though, wasn't it? Unfortunately, it was.
No, but we knew that wasn't going to finish like that. We knew that.
I'm just all we all want, and all we would have said that we want at the beginning of this season is progress from the last couple of seasons, and to finish 6th and above. You know, getting back into the Europa League just to start off with. No, we weren't even asking for the Champions League, were we? Obviously, we weren't because of the way we're playing. So anything from like a 6th and above, I think we'd have all taken that at the beginning of this season. So the progress that we're making is making that more feasible as each match goes by. So let's just hope for that. Let's just cling on to that we're going to make good progress from last season.
I'm not negative.
I think,
and what I'm going to say is to prove it. When I now watch Arsenal, I'm not sitting banging my head against the wall, going, "Why are you kicking it back? Why are you kicking it sideways?" We get all the Arsenal players now, from midfielders to defenders, get the ball and are on the front foot, looking to hit the ball forward all the time, looking to carry the ball forward. It's so different to where we've been. If we get beat in certain games, so be it. That's life. Liverpool they haven't got beat yet, Liverpool, but Man City get beat. All the great teams get beat, and they will Liverpool probably get beat. We're not near them yet. But what I'm saying is, if we play football like that and go, I think play like that, I'm quite happy.
I think we've shown that we're good enough to get top 6 from where we are now. I mean, if you look at last season and where we were the season before, top 6 is our minimum target, isn't it? So if we get top 6. And somehow, we might win a cup.
In the equation now, Steve. Steve, you've got to take Spurs out of the equation. You've got to take Spurs out of the equation.
Well, absolutely.
To make it easier for us. So, yeah, I agree.
If we get top 6 from where we are now, that'll be a result, I think.
You just got to look at West Ham.
Have
a look at what West Ham are doing at the moment with a team. They've got no sort of any players that you would think could be anywhere near classed as like world-class players. But what they are doing, they're playing like a machine. They're playing absolutely like a machine. We said this yesterday during the watch-along. They're literally clicking. They're clicking like the Leicester team did in their title-winning season. They're having very, very few injuries. They're all at their top of their game at the same time, and they're all complementing each other, and they're all working like a machine. But they've got no world-class players or anything like that. And they're probably 2 or 3, definitely one, with Mikel Antonio, injury away from potentially struggling because they haven't got really any replacements for him. But you've got to take your hat off to them for the way that they're playing and the way that they're competing at the moment. And they're the 4th best team in the UK at the moment. And they're carrying on from the way, I say UK, sorry, England. And they're carrying on from the way they finished last season. They were outstanding then as well. So you've got to sort of use those as a barometer of what can be achieved with a team that works as a team, works for each other, and all complement each other. They've got a great camaraderie. I look at our team now, and yes, they're really young, inexperienced, but they're playing with a hell of a lot of character, which I love. I love to see the way that they're playing with a lot of character. And you can see what can be achieved by a team playing like that, playing as a machine, complementing each other in that way. So if they can achieve 4th with what they're doing, then I look at us and think, well, we could do that. We could do that. It's probably too late for us to maybe even catch West Ham this season because they are.
How many points we're behind them?
What?
How many points we're behind them?
2, I think. Yeah, 2.
And we can't catch them.
Of course, we can catch them. I'm saying that, but they've got the experience over us. I'm just being a little bit keeping my feet on the ground, Melvin. That's what I'm doing. I'm looking at them and thinking. I'm looking at them and thinking they are achieving way above what their team should be achieving at the moment because of the way that they are knitted as a team. But if they can do it, why can't we? That's what I'm saying. But I'm not saying we're going to, because their team is far more experienced than us. They've been doing it for a longer period of time, and the sample size of our team at the moment is very, very small. But the way I look at us at the moment, I think, well, if they're doing this at the moment, why can't we? That's what I'm saying. I'm not saying we can't do that, Melvin, but I'm just trying to restrain myself from saying we're going to beat them and overtake them. That's all.
I understand you don't want to get too carried away. I understand that, and obviously, what benefits us this season compared to West Ham is that they do have European football, and at some point, surely they're going to get injuries or overstretch and things like that, and hopefully, touch wood, we don't have that issue. Obviously, obviously we ain't got Europe, we've got the domestic stuff to worry about. So hopefully, we don't have the same issues that we have done for the last 15 years, and that sort of helps us push on. Again, not saying we're going to get top 4, but it's nice to be in that conversation. If by the, as you say, I've nothing to do, 25, 30 games left, not gone, a few games to go. If we're in that conversation, I'll snap your hand right now for that.
I want to say that 4th is up for grabs. There's no reason we can't get it, but I'm just restraining myself from doing that because I don't want to be moaned at. I don't want to be moaned at by people saying, "Well, you're getting carried away. It's only 10 games in the season." But at the moment, I think the top 3 are absolutely sewn up. There's no one going to be taking out those 3 teams. That's probably going to be the way from now on, obviously. But the 4th position is up for grabs, and I'm not saying we're going to get carried away and going to go for it. But I don't see any reason at the moment why we can't aim for that 4th spot.
I think we're actually in the mix, aren't we? For those 3 or 4 places below the top 3, we're in the mix. And if we can stay on a run of form and maybe they go off the bottle, the fact that we're actually in the mix is a lot better than struggling around 10th and 12th, isn't it? Which is what we were doing. Definitely. So being in the mix, things happen. We go on a bit of a roll. West Ham are playing great. Maybe they have a bit of dip in form over Crimbo. Who knows? They could go on a 3 or 4 game run where they don't win. We could catch them. Man United, nothing to worry about with Man United, from my opinion. Tottenham are going backwards. Everton. So, why not? Let's be in that mix of 4 or 5 teams below the top 3 and see where we end up. If we get 6 or better, fantastic.
Definitely. And we beat them last season and then drew with them. Obviously, in that amazing 3-3 draw. But we beat them before. If we can do the same again, then we go above them, I believe. So it's going to be. I'm not saying we will because they're pulling up trees at the moment, but it's there.
We're in with a chance.
Yeah, absolutely in with a chance because I think we're better than we were last season. But whether they're probably better than they were last season. But you never know. Like I said, if Mikel Antonio, he's not a spring chicken anymore, but he's a fantastic footballer. What a career he's had, going from right back to a right winger, then to being a centre forward. It's quite phenomenal, really, what he's achieved. And I think he's 31 now, but they are very reliant on him up front because they've got a lot of fantastic attacking players, but not strikers. They've not really got anyone to replace him. So if they do lose him for any significant amount of time, which I wouldn't wish injury on anyone, but if they did, they could be in a bit of trouble, could hit a bit of a sticky patch, and we've got to be in a position whereby we can capitalise on that. If any of our competitors do slip up, we've got to capitalise. And we never did that in the past. It was so frustrating so many times when we had that situation and we'd go on and lose or draw, but I'm a bit more confident we can do that now. And do you know what I like? I like looking at the league table, not to scroll down to see where we are. We're actually on that first page.
We're not on page 2 anymore.
That's a start, and I'm quite happy with that at the moment. But let's see where it can take us.
Won't be surprised to see West Ham get a striker in January. Don't be surprised. They're not.
Yeah.
Oh, definitely.
Then they could also lose Antonio in January, couldn't they? If somebody came in for Antonio in January, the big money.
Possibly, yeah. It's possible.
That could also happen, couldn't it? Oh. Declan Rice. Somebody could come in for Declan Rice.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a case with Mikel Antonio. It's like Zaha was at Palace, a season or two ago, where, he's too important to them to accept any kind of offer for him. He is West Ham in lots of ways, in the way that Zaha was to Crystal Palace, in different ways, actually, because if Antonio is the difference of them qualifying for the top four, for the Champions League or not, then we all know the goal for the money when you get that. When you achieve Champions League qualification, you've instantly got, 90 million, 100 million? So, I mean, I cannot see them selling anyone this season, to be honest, with the way things are going. Maybe in next summer, but not this season, especially in January.
As you say, it's an injury, isn't it? It could be an injury between now and January. It could be an injury, couldn't it?
Yeah, but I mean, I've got no real beef.
As Melvin said, we're only 10 games in, aren't we? We're only 10 games in, or 9 games.
Yeah.
So a lot can happen now.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't hate West Ham in the way that I'll hate other clubs. I don't like any other clubs other than Arsenal, obviously. But if we were to not get top four and you could choose someone else to get top four just to mix it up a bit, I wouldn't begrudge West Ham at all. I think it'd be quite funny, for them to get in ahead of someone like, Man United or someone else. So, it's good what they're doing. I don't begrudge them at all. It's not as if they've been sort of, I'd rather them than Spurs. Put it that way. Anyone than Spurs. But anyone's better
than Spurs. Come on.
Yeah, exactly. But I mean, do you know what? I mean, I'm actually quite pleased for Moyes as well. I know this isn't the West Ham podcast, and we've got to get off this subject. But the way that he's come back from his spell at Man United and his spell at Real Sociedad and Sunderland, the way he's come back and rebuilt his career. I mean, fair play to him. You've got to give him a round of applause, really, for the way that he's done that and shoved it back in everyone's face. To be honest, he was literally a laughing stock, wasn't he? Literally a laughing stock. How many times do you see a manager come back from that? Not very often, is it? So fair play to him. Anyway, let's get off the West Ham.
He's done well, no doubt about it.
Yeah, no, fair play to him.
We've got a question from Neil in the chat saying, "Are you boys not worried about Conte to Spurs?" Me personally, no.
No. Spurs are always crap. Doesn't matter which manager they got. They're always crap. So don't worry about that.
Yeah, I mean they hired Mourinho. Look what happened there.
I think that was a record, wasn't it? I think Mourinho was the only club that he couldn't win anything with.
Yeah,
clubs has been to.
I mean, everyone else is won something.
They've got great players and they got a very poor manager. Spurs. I had a very poor manager. They've got a poor squad. And it's got worse year by year, month by month. So whoever goes in has got to rip all the wallpapers off, how many layers it is, and start again. And Conte will want to. Is it confirmed it's going to be him?
No, not yet.
Not yet. Right. Nothing official.
Not yet. No.
If it is him,
it'll come down to the budget, won't it? It'll come down to how much money Spurs can put on the table as a transfer budget.
They've not got enough. They've not got enough.
I'm thinking they got to spend 200 mil just to get them.
Yeah, I was thinking that. Yeah.
Level.
Yeah.
Melvin, last weekend, right? Last weekend they put out the oldest squad in the Premier League this season. The oldest starting 11.
I remember 2 or 3 years ago when Poch was manager, they had the younger squad.
They've got the oldest now. The oldest starting 11 on the weekend in the Premier League this season. And Arsenal have obviously got the youngest squad in the Premier League this season. So if they've got to, I think that's a minimum what you just said, Melvin, 200 million. They've got to revamp the entire squad. And there's no way they've got enough money to please someone like Antonio Conte. And I'm looking forward to it, if he gets the job, to actually watch that and unravel and watch his, like I said on Twitter, and I put it in a couple of WhatsApp groups, his head will probably explode on January the 31st when they've not given him what he wanted, his shopping list. His head will probably explode and he'll walk out. You know, it'd be like that film Scanners, where they just like shake and it's just.
I'd like listen. If he goes to Spurs, I'd just like to see what will happen because I can't see it working. It'd be very interesting to see what happens because I'll tell you something. If he can get a song out of them, he's a marvelous manager. He's more than a manager. He's something.
Well, he won't though, will he? He won't get a song out of the current squad, will he? He won't get a song out of the current squad.
That's what I'm saying.
No.
That's what I'm
Yeah,
saying.
he's got a player that doesn't want to be there as well.
He's got Ben Davies left back.
I put out before, you all saw it, but I did put out before that Kane wants the job so he can drop himself.
Yeah.
Mm.
Kane would be player manager. I said that a few weeks ago. Do you remember on one of the streams? I said Kane should be player manager because he won't be happy and you know. I don't think any. It's just, honestly, Spurs are just a shit show. They could get Pep Guardiola in there, and they wouldn't win anything. And you know they would
They could literally go get Roberto Mancini from Italy in there, and even he couldn't get a tune out of that squad. And look what he's doing at Italy.
And do you know what they hate the football. They hate the football that
Mourinho brought to the club.
Well, Mourinho brought to the club, and then Mourinho's protege, who's just walked out now as well. They hated the football he played, and they're not going to enjoy the football under Conte either.
Yeah, but they will enjoy it if they win games. I know they didn't enjoy it under Mourinho, but they weren't that successful under him, were they? Or not successful at all.
They won't win trophies, though. That's the main thing. They still won't win
Europe, the top four, they'll accept that for a season or two. I really do. So where they are now,
on Sky, Sky earlier, about a couple of hours ago, put a stat out there. Basically, these last 3 jobs, the lowest amount of money he spent was at Juventus, and how many years ago that was? And that was like the average over the time he was there, 47 mil. Came to Chelsea. He was only at Chelsea for 2 seasons. Spent nearly £200 million.
They've got 900. Was it £900 million debt for their stadium?
Yeah,
as well.
More, yeah.
And they turned down 140. Well, what was it? 140 mil for Harry Kane in the summer. Yeah. And you think Conte's going to go in there and get everything he wants? You must be mad. Absolutely mad.
Jamie Redknapp was saying earlier in Sky as well. What's happened in 4 months that suddenly they can now give Conte what they couldn't give him in the summer? Because in the summer he was literally all but done, and at the last minute it was a wage. They tried to cut the wages back. They couldn't offer him the transfer kit he wanted, and all of a sudden, 4 months later, what's changed?
I know. Well, they must have just paid 10 mil to get rid of Nuno.
That was about 18 Andrew with the backroom.
18.
18 million.
Yeah.
He had a 4-year contract, didn't he? Was it a 4-year contract? And he's only done
2-year contract. 2 years.
Was it 2 years?
Yeah, 2-year contract.
He's only done what? How many months? 3 months? 4 months?
Done 10 games?
Yeah,
but maybe
actually, no, 17 games. I beg your pardon, because of all the Europe. He's done 17 games. He's managed. That's it. So he's got paid. He's got paid what? If it's 18 mil for all his backroom staff, I mean, 10 mils at least is 12 mils got to gone to him. So it's not bad really per game, is it? Near enough £1 million a game.
Not bad for 17 days worth of work.
If Conte will cost him a lot more than that, won't he?
Oh, yeah.
If Spurs go bust before he cashes the cheque, I think he won't get paid. That's anything.
Yeah.
I'll be down the bank tomorrow morning.
Yeah.
I'll be there. I'll be there first thing this morning, actually.
Go to one of those places, one of those shops that cashes checks. Say, what this now?
You 80p in the pound taken?
Yeah. I don't mind. I'll have it. I'll take it. I'll take it.
Yeah. Oh, dude.
Spurs just give, don't they? It's fantastic.
Yeah, the thing is, they're the club that keep giving, aren't they? They're the club that keep giving. You know,
a couple of years ago when they got to the final, I know a lot of Arsenal supporters, me included, had a little bit of couple of sleepless nights because they were that close to winning it.
Yeah, absolutely.
And no one knew before the game, Steve, how bad Liverpool were going to be on the night. Because if I knew that, then I wouldn't have slept for a week. Liverpool, that was their worst game they played the whole season.
And they still lost.
Well, that's just Stoke gave that.
And they still lost. Hang on, but
at least in our Champions League final, we took the lead. We didn't bottle it after 30 seconds.
Oh, we're 10 minutes away from winning the bloody thing.
Yeah, they weren't even they weren't even that. They didn't even get a second of being that close.
No, exactly. And they played against Man City, who played the worst final they've ever played since they've been, since Pep's been there, and they still couldn't win the League Cup final. I don't think they even had a shot on target in that game, did they?
No.
It's just, really, it was worrying when they were in the cup final. But if everyone took a step back, they realised that what we're worrying for is just Spurs. They're going to Spurs it up, and they did. So they're never going to be in that position ever again, and they missed their chance.
That's what. Hopefully, West Ham knock them out in the next.
I think they're the one guarantee in life, aren't they? They're the one guarantee in life where they'll just cock it up. They'll find a way.
Death taxes, and Spurs will never win a trophy.
It's in their DNA. It's in their DNA. That's it.
Yeah, exactly. 3 things in life that are cast iron guarantees: death, taxes, and Spurs won't never win a trophy.
We'll go back to the game now. We've bashed Spurs. We've played West Ham. We'll go back to the game as well. And got to say now.
What are you saying there?
What I was saying. That's it. Weekend, obviously, Aubameyang basically got assaulted, got thrown in midair into the ground by Johnny Evans, got a booking. Later on that day, Laporte gets a red card for the exact same thing on Zaha. Where's the consistency?
It wasn't even as bad as wasn't even as bad as the Johnny Evans one, the Laporte one. I think the Johnny Evans one was worse.
Yeah, I agree. Where's Sam when you want him?
Yeah. Sam, where are you?
Yeah, but depending on who you asked, people have said they should both have been yellow, and other people say they both should have been red. So that's the problem, and it's consistency.
It's a red all day long.
It's either red or it's a yellow.
Yeah. Some commentator said it was too far away.
Assaulted on the pitch.
Yeah, some commentator said it was too far away to be given a red card.
That's bullshit. It can be on the halfway line.
Yeah, but we're talking about Aubameyang. We're not talking about Giroud. If that had been Giroud, if that had been Giroud, he'd never have got there, would he? But we're talking about Uber.
No, but I remember, I went to a game. I think it was at obviously not at the Emirates, where Arteta got sent off. He tackled someone just past the halfway line. So
I remember
against Palace.
It wasn't even central. It was near the wing.
Yeah,
I know, because the whole rule is, Melvin, if you are stopping a goal-scoring opportunity,
exactly.
Doesn't matter where it is on the pitch. If you're the last man, you're the last man.
Yeah, but if you look at paragraph 3, subtitle B, if they wear an Arsenal shirt, it changes.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. That's it. That's what it all comes down to, mate. And if you saw the line when they paused it on the TV, it was like a V shape. They were at the tip of the V, and the other two covering, what if you could call them covering defenders, which they weren't. They were behind the play.
Yeah,
deeply behind the play by about 3 or 4 meters. Aubameyang was not going to get caught. He was clean for on goal. Hence, red card all day long.
And you know something which no one's mentioned, well, they might have done, I haven't heard it mentioned, that with the foul, it slowed him up, Aubameyang. So had he not been brought down, he'd have been another 5 yards forward.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. All day long, that was a red. There was all this bullshit about yellow card, and it's just fake news. It's red all day long in anyone's language, apart from when you're playing in an Arsenal shirt, like you said, Melvin.
Yeah. Exactly. That's
what it never even got reviewed, did it? It never even got reviewed, did it, that decision?
No. In fact, what I'd absolutely love the Arsenal fans to bring in the "No one likes us" chant. And I put it onto the group chat earlier. I'd love us to start singing that again, because we should have that mentality in the club, because it's obvious that everyone hates Arsenal, and we should make the most of it and just feed off it. That's what I think. And make the Emirates a fortress again. Everyone else outside the Emirates can just fuck themselves. And inside the Emirates, no one likes us, but we don't care. And I think I'd love us to bring that chant back into the ground.
Well, there was a clip on YouTube earlier from another channel, basically. There's like 12-minute clip of their stream, and it was like talking about obviously this weekend's result, one person out of a panel of 5 was actually praising Arteta and Arsenal at this moment in time and where we've come from and this, that, and the other from the start of the season. The other 4, you could tell they hate praising Arsenal. They just hate it. You're a Newcastle fan, a Liverpool fan, a Man United fan, and one of them not down the road. Obviously, you can understand the one down the road because obviously it hurts even more that they're doing what they're doing. The Man United fan just, no, we could have Ollie all season. We are going to finish above Arsenal with Arteta in charge. It's like, are you for real? You've just been battered 5-0 against Liverpool at home, and you've beaten a really even poor side than what we played in Tottenham side. Behave yourselves. Know where you are. You're meant to be title contenders, but you're level on points with us. Literally goal difference by about 1 or 2 is separating us from being above you. So know your lane. Accept you're not going to be a title contender for a long, long time under this manager and under this ownership, like we have, in terms of the ownership side of things, until things get proven different. And hopefully we do get proven wrong on that. But it does my head in. Everyone else, say for example, Leicester had been the other way around next weekend and Leicester had beaten us, you know for a fact the media and every fan base will be jumping on our backs.
They'll all be praising Leicester.
Love Leicester City.
They'll be praising Leicester, yeah, exactly. About what a great job Brendan Rodgers is doing, what a young side they've got. That you know full well that's what would be the case. I'm not making that up. What a young, great team he's put together. Really exciting young English players and so on and so forth. We don't get anywhere near the credit we need for players like Saka and Smith Rowe in the side. Young players that we've took a chance on this summer that have all worked out. How many bloody teams signed 6 players and 10 games into the season they're all linchpins in the side? I mean, I know about Odegaard's not getting into the side at the moment because of the system we're playing, like 4-4-2 type of role. But he's played a part this season. All 6 signings have been top draw, and they've all made a massive impact.
They have. I mean, good point. But you've mentioned Odegaard. What everyone's beginning to have different views about him.
Yeah, but I'll get my time. I'm going to back him up, and I'll tell you exactly
what I think. I think he changed the game for us on Saturday in the way that we kept control of the ball and played in their half. He changed that. He was holding the ball, moving with it. He made a big difference. But, and this is where the but comes in my liking, he gets knocked off the ball too many times. He takes too many risks outside our penalty area. And he got beat, I think once I saw on Saturday, just outside our box. He lost the ball. He didn't know where it went. And all of a sudden, they nearly scored. And he would have been to blame for that goal, believe me. So I like him. I like his style. He's a little bit too one-footed for me, but he has got terrific skill. He's got great vision, and he can hit a pass. But as I say, I think that's got to be knocked out of his game. He's got to be a lot stronger on the ball. Remember, it's his kind of his first season.
He needs to beef up a bit, and that'll come with more minutes and more time he plays.
That's what I want to do. I'm not saying he's the same player as Pires. I'm not. But certain players like Pires, the first season he kept getting knocked off the ball and giving it away. What a player he turned out. So
exactly, yeah. But he
realises what his weaknesses are, and he's got them like most players. And if he does that, then I think he'll be fine.
Definitely, and you can coincide his dip in form with him not playing number 10 anymore. When he stopped playing in the 4-2-3-1, as the one in the middle, his form dropped, and that's when he started bringing further back on the pitch. And you can go back and review his drop in form with him being played out of position. He's not a deep line midfielder or central midfielder. He's not one of those players. He's a number 10. And we bought him knowing that he's a number 10. So we shouldn't expect him to be able to play as a Partey's partner. He's just sitting in front of the back 4. Simple as that. If you go back and look at the results and the formations we were playing on the day. Anyway, I've still got a lot of faith in him. I do agree he needs to bulk up. He's only going to get to do that by playing more minutes in the first team. I think next season He will still make a. I'm not saying he's good and right this season. I think he's got a big part to play this season, and I think he will. But next season, when he's got another season under his belt in the Premier League, you'll see his strength build. You'll see him getting much more used to it, and he may well be able to play as a bit more of a general midfielder over time. But at the moment, he's not. He's a number 10, and that's where he affects the game. And that's when he was playing his best football for us. So I think we need to go a bit easy on him, to be fair. But I do agree with what you said, Melvin, that he's not the finished article. But I think I've got so much faith in him long term. I think it was a great buy for the money. I really, really do. And I think we'll see the benefits of that in the future.
Also, just going back to, you touched on it today about the signings. I mean, bar Gabriel and that back line, including the goalkeeper here, they're all just, apart from Gabriel, all the others had literally signed this summer. And the way they performed, and they have been performing, getting better slowly. On Saturday, you wouldn't have thought that. You wouldn't have thought that. You would have thought they've been playing together for at least a season and a half by now.
Definitely.
Because when we, especially that second half, when we let Leicester come at us and attack, we weren't shaky. We weren't going, oh no, making mistakes, hit little errors on the edge of the box, and allowing them to have shots at goal willingly. And even when they in that entire 90 minutes, I can remember, maybe I'm wrong, one player got breached our defence, and even then Ramsdale was there just to put that to bed.
Yeah, I know. Can you name in all of our history?
I think Gabriel is.
I was going to say, you go ahead, Steve. I'll say it after.
No, I'm just saying. I think Gabriel he's just turning into a bit of a beast, isn't he? I mean, he's getting more and more dominant every game, and you can see that back four are playing as a back four. They're not getting pulled out of position, and they just look so solid. Yeah, they're right. They look like they've been playing a whole season a bit, but they've actually only played 6 games. That's incredible to do that in 6 games.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And going back to lack of credit, I think he's getting credit from within our fan base, obviously. But if you can try and think back to a left back or any kind of fullback who's had any better first 2 games for his club than what Tavares has had for us in our team, then I'd love to see it. I mean, his first game, the first start in the Premier League against Aston Villa, his second start in the Premier League against Leicester. I mean, can you think of someone that's done as well in their very first 2 games in a new league, coming from, I just think he deserves so much credit. And I honestly, I'll say again, if he played for someone like Leicester, Southampton, Everton, or anyone else, he would have been given probably about a 5-minute section on Match of the Day for how well he's done. I mean, he's hardly got a mention from anyone in the media, and it's just weird. I don't care because he's ours, and we're all going to love him. But I mean, my God, how good has that kid done? Being dropped into a Premier League side with his first 2 starts. I mean, he's just been phenomenal. I mean, he's not the only one. I mean, so many of them had great games, but him in particular, I think, coming in, it's big boots to fill. Coming in for Kieran Tierney for Arsenal, and I don't think any Arsenal fan would say that it's going to be easy for Kieran Tierney just to walk straight back into the side, and you cannot give him a bigger compliment than that, can you?
I mean, when we needed him, he was there.
I suppose of the 6, he was the.
It's all right, Steve. You've got a big delay, but carry on. I mean, when you finish.
No, I'm just saying. I think Tavares is probably the least expected to perform out of the 6, wasn't he? Really, and he's done as well as the others have. He's not been left behind. He's just taken the 2 opportunities, and he looks a threat. He's got the pace, he's got the skill, he's confident. He doesn't mind having a shot. I mean, he's got it all going for him, hasn't he? Really, it may be a question. You've got to find a way of getting him into the side when Tierney comes back.
It's just wonderful to think that last season he would have been replaced with either Kolasinac or Xhaka at left back, but now we've got someone like him to come in and replace Tierney, it's just so much more comforting to know that you've got a player like that in the squad. And it just our bench is just so much stronger than it was last season. We still need, we definitely need midfield reinforcements. A couple of midfielders, I think, in my opinion, and we will need another striker. But apart from that, I think our squad is developing beautifully, in my opinion.
The trouble is, though, I had the shakes on Saturday. We actually bought Kolasinac on.
I know, yeah. I think we're trying to make.
Yeah, that's probably the only downside.
Do you know what? I genuinely think we're actually doing that to remind people he's still available. No, to remind people he's still available for their team, to window shop. You know, I cannot think of any other reason why coming up to January he's getting the odd minute here or there, because it must be to remind people that, oh yeah, he's available. Kolasinac, might go for him. I can't think of any other reason, mate.
Well, I was just deflated now for saying that.
I just can't believe it. I just thought I saw
I know.
Yeah.
Oh dear.
It's like seeing an old girlfriend turn up, isn't it?
Exactly, and he realised how ugly she was, and like, why on earth was I with her?
And she ain't getting any better.
Yeah.
Oh God. But I think Andrew touched on it earlier. I think another last positive we're going to touch on before we start wrapping things up. It's going over now, and I think people have to do other bits and pieces. But obviously the bond that the new like the Ramsdale and the players in general are building with the fan base. I mean, I was saying the other day that back nearly in the Wenger's time, win, lose or draw, home or away, players were breaking their neck to get off the pitch. You'd have to Petr checks and all that, a couple others that stay on and applaud the fans, but everyone else would break their necks. Whereas now, I think it's been a slow, gradual thing, and I think it's noticed more so this season that Arteta's got every single one of them, plus himself, going over there, home or away, and applauding the fans and thanking the fans for coming out and supporting them and all that jazz. And players, I think, was it last week against Leeds, Last of Pepe jumping over the advertising hall into the actual concourse of what the layout is at the Emirates, giving their shirts to the fans, even if there's no banners there, they're going out their way to interact and build that thing and build that sort of that bridge again with the fan base. Because again, as a fan base, we've been sort of we felt neglected from the club, from the players in that sense, because they've never, as I said, they used to break their neck to get up the pitch no matter what. Even if we won a big game, it was like, okay, we won, let's off we go now. Whereas now, no matter who we play, win, lose or draw, they're actually interacting with us and actually showing some sort of care and appreciation for us being there. I keep saying it. I've said it for a while. There's little things like that mean so much. I mean, we saw the kid that got the Ramsdale shirt at the weekend. The photos are bringing around social media afterwards, outside on the way home.
He's greedy. He's already wearing one. Greedy little kid.
Yeah.
Giving it to someone else.
But again, giving the kid again things like that, giving a kid like that a memory, and obviously he's wearing it. It means so much to him as well, and you're building that connection straight away. He's like, he's going to school today. Go, oh, you see me on TV? I got Ramsdale shirt. Da 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 da. It's the little things. I mean, we were speaking about it last week on, I think it was your channel, wasn't it, Andrew? At the end of the podcast, I mentioned that there was an Arsenal fan on Twitter basically the day after saying,
yeah,
he took his autistic son to his first ever game.
Oh, that was right. Yeah,
basically he wasn't after 15 or so minutes. He realised his son wasn't coping with the noise and obviously the amount of fans there. So in his head, he was doing the right thing, and it is the right thing in the sense of he took his son out of that. He was taking his son out of that situation, about to leave and go watch the game in the pub or go home, whatever, wherever they live. And a female steward, actually asked, "What's happening? Why are you leaving early?" He's explained the situation, and he said, "Hang on a second." So he evaded up to someone. Next thing he knew, he has been escorted up to the club level into the
The sensory boom.
Sensory room, and he couldn't praise. He regrets not getting her name because he could give her proper praise, but also he named all the staff that were working in that sensory room and praised them because they couldn't have done enough to make that night better for his son as well.
That's the club we love, isn't it? That's what the club we love, looking after people, treating people with class. It's just it's top drawer. It's a brilliant story. Really happy for them. And I just, it's those little moments, like you said, Ryan, that make your club stand out from the rest. And there's no other club that does more for people with disabilities than Arsenal Football Club. That's a fact. And Dave Seeger, who's recently written that book, after what the tragedy that happened with his son, he's written a book about sort of the accessibility for all or something like that, to do with what the Arsenal Football Club do for their disabled fans. And he's done a lot of research into it, and there's no club that does more for disabled people than Arsenal, but not just disabled people in the community and so on. It's a class club and with tradition that will never, that's something that's remained constant, and I'm really happy about that. I know we've made mistakes with stupid mistakes like there's Super League stuff and all crap like that, but when it comes to treating fans properly, we do that properly. And that's something that's really, really good.
That's why we called it the Arsenal.
Yeah, definitely, mate. Definitely. But I love that story. It's really heartwarming, and it's lovely to hear in this sort of time, in this day and age, that we do things like that.
No, exactly. I mean, again, it's like you said, the club had a lot of criticism, not just with the Super League, but in general from our fan base. Like I said earlier, but the disconnect we felt between ourselves and the club, and that they didn't really care. They didn't do this, they didn't do that. But things like we just mentioned there, and then the players actually interacting with the fans after the game and all that. It shows there's still that bit of class there. There's still that something that's installed into the players and into not left the club. Being knocked out the club and beaten at the club by whoever.
It was missing for a while, the fan interaction. Like you said, the relationships between the players and the fans, it just disappeared for quite a long time. But it's so lovely to see it back now. And no one was forcing those players to act like they did after that match. It meant a lot to them. And it meant a lot for them to share that with the fans. That was all genuine. That was all genuine stuff that you saw there, all that on the pitch. And, Gabriel did the same thing. Sort of ran up, chucked his shirt into and then he turned back around again and sort of fist pumped the fans. And then he went and celebrated with his teammates and was hugging them on the pitch and all that. That's not fake stuff. That's all genuine. That's sort of been building within the club. And that's lovely to see. I really, it makes you feel so much better, when you see things like that, and that you can warm to these players. There's got a team full of players that you really genuinely like, and you really want them to do well. And you really, when you're supporting them in a stadium, you're genuinely supporting them because you really like them. You really want them to do well. You want them to win. It's just lovely to see. Really, really good.
On another note, on a good film note, I've seen that Jimenez has scored tonight for Wolves. So that's great news.
Yeah, that's good to hear.
That is good news, yeah. Yeah, very good. We spoke about him yesterday, didn't we, Ryan, I think? Was it yesterday? Or...
It was yesterday, the watch along, yeah.
Yeah, terrible what happened to him. It's good to see him come back, and I'm glad that he scored. Apparently Everton are absolutely atrocious.
That's what Mark's saying, Greeny's saying in the chat. He's saying
23% possession or something.
Something like that, yeah.
Christ,
Steve the Arsenal Mister, it's also saying Ramsdale was asking, was Ramsdale anything after the match? Did it like give everything away? And then he went over, go to give the shirt to the kid, and the next thing you know, his boots are gone. And you're like, what the...
Yeah, I know. He said, well, how am I supposed to put these in a fucking... How am I supposed to frame these boots? Like, no, but it's great, though, isn't it? He's... everyone. I mean, everyone must have a heart of stone if you don't love that bloke. I mean,
You know what is
just
quite strange about him? I know that, with communication, we could all watch television and watch all these games. But before he played for us, he didn't seem, and he probably did, he didn't seem to have that personality. No one knew anything about him. But now he seems to have blossomed. It seems that some players hit the right club at the right time. It seems to have to. Everything seems to be exploded. Everything's like all of a sudden, the fans love him because of his performances, but also his personality has come out. And he seems to just enjoy. It looks like he's really enjoying what he's doing.
Definitely, and it was. I mean, it was even lovely when he signed, and he has his family with him, and he had his little granddad in a little pot in front of him. Do you remember when he signed his granddad's ashes and that? It's lovely. And then I remember tweeting out his photo, of him signing his contract, and I put, "What a beautiful smile! I love him already," sort of thing. It's just like it's gone from there, isn't it? Really, he knows how to interact with the fans. He's created such a special bond already. He's like a cult hero within 7 games. I mean, that's amazing. But not only has he done that, I mean, he's backed it up with his performances, which have been nothing short of outstanding. And if he's not England #1 for the next World Cup, then I'll eat my slippers. Because I'm not going to eat my hat 'cause I like it, but I'll eat my slippers.
If he doesn't display your hat and slippers, Andrew, no offence.
No, and that's how serious I am about it. He's going to be overtaking Pickford. He's got to. I mean, if he keeps
a couple of goals Pickford's let in tonight, he hasn't done himself proud. But I think what was I going to say now about I forgot what I was bloody going to say now. Sorry, I'll take these pills. I'll be all right in a minute. I'll take a couple of pills.
Are you late for your injection, love? Have you late for your injection?
What's up for breakfast? Late, innit?
Oh dear. Lastly, obviously, we touched on Smith Rowe. What was it? 3 goals in 3 games. He was told by Carragher he had to score more goals for his game, and he's since that interview, all he's done is score. And literally, like season pro. I mean, that one at the weekend. That's what you see from a proper season pro midfielder. And again, how long have since we had goals coming from our midfield? And obviously Smith has been the main part of that so far this season.
I'll start. First of all, isn't it nice to have midfielders in the opposing box? Hey?
Yeah, definitely.
It makes a big difference. And also, what I was going to say with Ramsdale, and I've given our manager a lot of stick, as you've known the last 6 to 12 months, but he's very brave in putting him in and keeping him in when we had a #1 goalkeeper. So Arteta did well there with the goalkeeping situation. No, Smith Rowe has been from day one fantastic. He may not have been a 9 or 8 out of 10 every game, but we do miss him when he doesn't play. He's terrific. He gives us he's our catalyst as far as I'm concerned. From being a sideways, boring, backward team is one of the reasons that we've changed. He's one of the reasons Arteta's still got his job. Because when he came outside was it December, Andrew, was it?
December, Boxing Day, mate.
Boxing Day, sorry. He changed with Saka, but him primarily, he was the only difference, changed the way we played. Gave us a new spring in our step. And I love watching him play. I've said it before, I think really, people could jump on me for this, I think he's a better player than Saka. I've
already said that, mate. I've already said that.
I think he's overtaken Saka, and I think currently he's overtaken Saka, isn't he? Currently.
I'm just thinking that
the pace he has with the ball.
Yeah.
He turns our defence into attack, doesn't he? Because the way he runs with the ball, he's so quick when he's running with the ball that the defence can't keep up with him, and the other players now linking up with that, and it's just, as you say, they're not knocking it sideways for 10 minutes, are they? They're actually looking, and it starts with Ramsdale. The first thing he's looking at is picking somebody out further up the pitch. He's not looking just to, pass it sideways. And as soon as Smith Rowe gets on the ball, he's off, isn't he? He's like a bloody terrier, and everybody else is trying to catch up with him. It's good to see. It's good to see. But for me, I think he's outperforming Saka at the moment, marginally. But that's great. If they're both performing at a high level, that's great.
I just love being right about Smith Rowe. It's amazing.
You never liked
you
him.
was calling.
I was going to
for a
say,
long time.
that's all down to you, yeah.
Yeah, you never liked him. Yeah, he never liked him.
That's
Never liked
Steve. Literally from the start of last season, I put going to at the back end of the previous season into the last season. Every show Andrew was on, Smith Rowe. And to be fair, obviously I knew.
I said don't forget. I said he'll save us 50, 60 million pound in the transfer window, didn't I?
Yeah.
Bloody hell! So he's worth about 100 million now, and the rest. He's a absolutely unreal player. He's going to be one of the best players in the league by the end of this season. He'll already be one of the best players in the Premier League. He's not already.
Just imagine if he hadn't picked up those injuries early doors, where he'd be now. If he hadn't picked up those injuries, which kept him out for a while. It's a phenomenal player.
Yeah. Steve's also saying,
and he's another one that loves the club, isn't he? He's another one.
Yeah. No doubt about it. And as I was saying, Andrew's been singing his praises for over a year now. Obviously, my brother's friends with him, so I've known of Smith Rowe when obviously after he came back from the under 17s World Cup when they won that.
Yeah,
so I've known of him since then. So I knew I've been keeping an eye on him in this, and I was so. That's why whenever he scores and he's watching watch-alongs or I'm at the game and he scores, I'm even extra happy for him.
Yeah, I mean,
it's just, and you can tell, even like Melvin said earlier, he may not be perfect in every game, but he'll leave everything on the pitch. He'll do what he can to leave everything on the pitch, no matter what.
100%. And I agree with what Steve and Neil were saying about Saka as well. And I did say that, I think, in one of the previous podcasts this last week or so, I think Saka is still recovering. He's been through a hell of a lot, played a hell of a lot of football. And he is not playing his best at the moment, but he's still probably one of the best players in this position around. But he can go through another couple of gears yet as well. And is there any better site in the world? And I'm not just talking about football here. I'm talking about anything. Is there any better site that gives you such a warm heart than when Saka is smiling and laughing? Like, it's one of the most beautiful things.
Think of something. I don't know about now.
No, it's like it's just such a heartwarming picture, isn't it? When Saka's smiling, it's a beautiful thing. So yeah, I absolutely adore the kid, and I know he's not at his best yet at the moment, but that will come again. And we were so lucky to have them both. Absolutely, so lucky to have them both.
Exactly. And with Saka, I said it last week a couple of times. We have to remember, obviously, not just him. Some of the other lads from the England squad for respective clubs aren't performing the way they were last season in the summer, and you've got to add to the equation the mental fatigue he would have taken after that final from the abuse that him and Saka and Sancho are facing. So you've got to take that into the equation. He's still mentally recovering from that. Then physically, after pretty much carrying the club most of last season as well, with his performances week in, week out, then to be out of nowhere, a big part player in our Euro campaign, out of nowhere. And obviously the second game onwards, he was literally starting pretty much every game. And then to have that, obviously, again, that was 19 years old, and people people abuse him need to remember this. He was 19 years old when he took that penalty. How many 19-year-olds at full stop would have the balls? And I'm being polite there by saying balls to step up in front of 60,000 nearly 90,000 capacity fans,
billions around the world.
Yeah, billions around the world, all the eyes of the country on him as well, and still go up and take that penalty and say, no, yeah. Okay, the manager's picked me. No problem. I'm not complaining. I'm going to do it. I don't care if I'm first, second, third, fourth, or fifth.
Right, it's bad management.
I know it's bad management.
I've got a question. How good would he have been if Sancho had signed for Man United this year?
Hey? If Sancho had signed for Man United this year,
how good would he have been?
Basically, is a dig at Man United for not playing him. Basically.
Yeah, I know. He's twice the player Sancho is.
Oh dear.
Sancho can't even get a game, can he?
No,
No.
That's what happens with
when he has
Ronaldo.
played, he hasn't performed. Steve, he's got no goals and no assists.
No, he hasn't. But
What was it? The German? What was it? German? Sorry, it's German.
he's come in as a
Sports.
big signing, and then next,
Oh,
he's
sorry,
come in
Steve,
as a
go
big
on.
signing, and then the next minute they sign Ronaldo.
Yeah.
Yeah, well,
I'm just saying,
how much
they,
criticism has Sancho got? Considering he was £1 million more than Pepe, right? Don't forget. I know it's early days, but Pepe gets bollocked left, right, and centre by everyone. But I'll tell you what, his stats are far outshining anything Sancho's been putting out.
Quietly, I'd swap him.
Well, he's
I'd
not been
take a
putting out any
swap.
stats, has he?
I'd take a swap.
Yeah,
No,
I know. You get my point, though, Melvin. He ain't got
Of course
any.
I do. Of
He ain't
course
got
I do.
any.
Yeah.
Anything. No criticism at all for Sancho
No.
for being a waste of money, and they spent 73 million quid on him.
Yeah.
They
And
nearly gave 100 the season before, didn't they? Do you remember?
yeah, near 100, 180
Yeah.
would have been plus. But what was it? Like I say, what was it the other day? I saw an image on Twitter again. It was a screenshot of Sky Sports Germany, and had Sancho in the background. He had 007, no goals, no assists
In 7 appearances.
In 7 appearances.
Yeah, well, it's funny though, 'cause since Ronaldo's come into the team, Bruno hasn't scored a goal.
No, that's true. Yeah, someone mentioned that the weekend.
He hasn't scored in 10 games now, Bruno.
Yeah, but they've stopped getting penalties, though, haven't they? And you.
Yeah, that's true. And when they do, Ronaldo skies them. Oh dear.
I just love it.
For a club that's over the last few years,
So go on, Steve.
No, so obviously on a bit of a lag with this internet connection, but just saying that when you think the club over the last few years has spent in the region of £2 billion on players and where they are now, that's shocking, isn't it? It's great for us, but I mean, it's just shocking.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah, we've got going chat saying Southgate stunted the growth of at least 2 English players when he assigned them to PKs and the Euros. If they'd made them, too soon for the popularity, but they missed. So, doesn't he? Go, you're hurting, don't you? You're not punching.
I know. I like his Don't stop doing your Gary. I like them.
That's more merchandise idea actually for the channel.
Yeah. Oh.
When you feeling like, think of Gary. Oh dear! But with that, we're going to wrap things up, guys. Not much else to say because we keep repeating ourselves. Otherwise, we've even praised Tottenham. Not praised Tottenham. We've digged at Tottenham, but praised West Ham. We've covered a couple of, as I said, covered a couple of clubs outside the game, outside of our club, and we've given praise where praise is due when it comes to the actual result on Sunday and where the club's going in the right direction so far. Touch wood. It is 10 games, like we have said. There's still another 28 games to go. So we won't get too carried away yet. As Melvin said earlier, if come end of March, early April, we're in a position where we're still in the talk for Champions League spots or Europa League, then we can get excited. Then we can actually say there has been progress this season.
Well, we can say that now. I mean, 10 games is enough of a period of time to actually make some kind of judgment. And I think after the first 3 games, I think he's done an incredible job to turn it around within the next 7. So we can say that we're making progress, but yes, it's too early days to say whether we're going to make, big strides league position-wise yet. But let's keep our fingers crossed.
Yeah. Yeah, Steve's having a go at Steve in the chat. Better wife on his shit.
Yeah, it's true. It's true.
There's never no leg in the shed.
Go back in the shed, I think.
Get your winter coat out. Get your little woolly hat out and scarf and gloves.
Yeah, going to say thank you to everyone in the chat and before, because Neil put a message on that he's going now. So before he goes, cheers for watching, Neil. By the way, obviously thanks to everyone in there, but I know that Neil was going to cut off soon.
Yeah.
Great,
Yeah, definitely.
great to have you in the chat because loads of good comments coming through tonight as always.
Yeah, 100%. And obviously, this is the last comment from Neil as it stands. So it goes one game at a time in the previous comment, and then goes, but we are winning the league in 3 years' time. In 3 years, we're winning the league.
100%.
I'll snap your hand off. Now. Yeah, we touched on Nuno already, as in there's only one left in North London, put it that way. My pleasure. Great show from Steve. Let's echo what Andrew said. Thanks to all you guys in the chat that have kept that bit popped in, kept the chat going. And yeah, we'll be back in terms of Arsenal content on Friday for the preview for Watford, and then obviously got two games that I'll cover on Sunday. Yay! One after the other as well. Bloody hell! So literally, it's going to be the Arsenal Watford, and then literally a half hour off, and then got to come back and do a Arsenal women versus West Ham women from Bournemouth Wood in the WSL. Which I'm quite confident we're going to win that based on the start to our season on that one. So it could be an Arsenal double there. And yeah.
Well, Arsenal Watford gives me shivers because of that horrible game. That horrible game under Unai Emery. My lowest moment as an Arsenal fan in my life, I think.
The away game, the away one. I thought you were talking about what home game should we struggle against Watford?
No, yeah, it was Watford, Arsenal,
away,
their place.
Draw, yeah.
I don't even like to think about it. It's awful. So yeah, I just really want us to give them a massive smashing on the weekend to get rid of that memory out of my head.
And going last comment, getting a dig in at Tottenham was obviously, not talking about Nuno basically. So Nuno's Wolves are doing great. Oops, Large's Wolves are doing well.
Yeah.
Neil's going for a 4-0 win at the weekend. Oh, that's a bit.
I'd love that.
But I'll take it. Be the first back for a long time.
Yeah.
Tottenham aside, obviously. But yeah, with that, guys, obviously, Steve, where can people find you on your social media? If you want to be found on there. Well, you're not on here, obviously.
From Friday in my garage or Steve K 1886 on Twitter.
Oh dear. Andrew, what about yourself? What you got coming up in your channel?
Yeah. Thanks again, everyone, for tonight. Really enjoyed it. So, come onto my channel tomorrow night from Dial Square to Where on YouTube. Got another great show coming up tomorrow. So yeah, please join us. Yeah, Melvin, by the way, the show's not going to be on Wednesdays from now on. It's on Tuesdays. So if you ever wanted to drop on, you're more than welcome. 7:30 from now on a Tuesday every week. So please tune in, everyone, if you can. That'd be great. And you can catch me on Twitter at From Dial Square.
And if you haven't already, go subscribe to his channel. And is it last week or a couple of weeks ago? You had a special guest on it, a nice early live one, but a special guest, Arsenal connected.
Yes, it was a great one. If you haven't watched that already, it was Jerry Payton, who was the Arsenal goalkeeping coach for 15 years up until 2018. He joined in the summer before the Invincibles, same time as Jens Lehmann, and it was a brilliant chat, really brilliant chat. So if you haven't watched it already, please go and give it a watch, give it a like, and give it a subscribe, please. Help my channel get more notice from the Arsenal fans.
And lastly, Melvin, what about yourself? Where do you want to be found? And where can you be found?
Keep away from Twitter if you don't want to see me. No, just on Twitter, basically, at Melvin. The only way is Arsenal Marks. Just to say, Andrew, did you find out if Bob Wilson is feeling better now? Because he wasn't too well.
No, I messaged him a couple of days ago. Actually, it was on his birthday. Messaged him. He's read the message, hasn't come back to me just yet, so I'm a little bit worried about him. But
let's hope it's all right.
He tweeted out on his birthday, didn't he? Which is a good sign.
Yes, I saw that, so I thought Paul perhaps been a bit better. But thanks again. Thank you, Ryan. Thanks very much. Enjoyed it, and see you soon.
Yeah. And with that, obviously, guys, if you find me, my Twitter handle's on the screen there. Obviously, I'm on TikTok down the Mr. Arsenal podcast, Instagram, and all that. Just all going across the screen anyway. as I said, in terms of Arsenal content-wise, we're back on Friday for the preview, doing all the watch-alongs on Sunday. Two Arsenal watch-alongs, bloody hell. One after the other. Hopefully double Arsenal delight there. We'll have a few other bits throughout the week. And until then, guys, enjoy the rest of your evening. And as always, up the Arsenal. Come on, you Gunners.
Come on, you Gunners.